Hey guys, tonight we're taking a journey back to a time when your morning alarm wasn't a gentle chime or a favorite song, but instead the relentless, echoing clang of metal on metal. Imagine you're yawning in the chilly dawn, wrapped in your most comfortable blanket, though perhaps not as cozy as those fuzzy socks you're wearing. You probably won't survive this wild adventure without breaking a sweat. But fear not. In this space, we're more about soft whispers than loud history lessons. Before you get too comfy, feel free to tap like or subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying the calm around here. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far this sleepy little journey reaches. Now, go ahead and lower the lights. Maybe let a fan hum in the background, and let's drift gently into tonight's story together. You wake up to the gentle glow just before sunrise, your breath mixing with the cool air in your little corner of the medieval universe. It's the time when people sane in every other way would roll over and snooze back into their dreams. But not you. The morning calls with its own unique iron tune, like the sound of an old movie intro. You shuffle into the workshop, your feet tapping along like it's rehearsed choreography. Though maybe you're just trying not to trip over that old anvil resting like a forgotten piece of furniture in a cluttered bedroom. Boring as it might seem to the uninitiated, being a blacksmith wasn't just a job. It was more like living in an old-school TikTok loop. Every clang, just a little dance with time. You fire up the forge, its warmth washing over you like a hug from your favorite hoodie. Not your usual soothing mug of morning coffee, but hey, one takes comfort where one can in medieval times. That heat, bright and alive, could remind a body of all the times you've crafted the perfect Insta-filter for your selfies. Just so. Here's a funny thing to make you smile amidst the soot and the ashes. People back then believed that a blacksmith's forge was home to sprites or little spirits. Imagine thinking tiny mystical creatures were helping out, like if your laundry just folded itself whenever you turned your back. Anyway, iron was this miraculous, malleable work of nature, like Play-Doh for the seriously intense. You molded it and shaped it until it became something sharp or something sturdy, sometimes both. Here's a fun fact to tuck away. Europeans began using iron regularly around the 8th century, which was just a while before cat memes became the fabric of the internet. And although making a sword might sound grand, a lot of the time you were fixing horseshoes or forging nails. The medieval version of sending LOL without actually laughing. Historians still argue whether every blacksmith made their own tools or bartered with fellow craft people. Some claim there were tool fairs, like a bizarre Renaissance fair where no one juggled or wore doublets, but instead exchanged grips and anvils. But okay, honestly, here's the wild part. Did every blacksmith feel like a creator of legends, or just someone dealing with sweat and blisters more often than compliments and tales? A question as open as why we keep scrolling through notifications as if they'll bring us peace. The aroma of burning iron in the air could be described poetically, but let's be real, it's as delightful as the forgotten leftovers at the back of your fridge. The sound of hammer striking metal, though, a rhythm that becomes as comforting as the soft thud of footsteps in a quiet house at night. A good evening, you might think, is one spent with the kind of peace that settles like the dust around an old, comfy armchair. Each day in the forge was a masterpiece of repetition, like getting really good at sticking with dark mode because it feels emotionally accurate for your life flow. so you swing your hammer, muscle memory guiding your every move. The blacksmith was never alone. In every swing, in every spark, a community was born. And before you disappeared into the embers of another sword or shield, remember, that old fortified blacksmith knew what they were doing was special, just like crafting the perfect email only to send it to the wrong person. While others were singing bonfire songs at night, you were dreaming of the metal and fire that awaited you at sunrise, much like binge-watching a series hoping there's another episode before sleep finally takes over. Rest your head tonight on that thought, and we'll pick up tomorrow where we've left it cool on your bedside. Until then, honestly, mornings are overrated when the coal's warmth cuddles you better than any chilly dawn. You walk back into the forge, where the world narrows down to the thrum of fires and the rhythmic hammering that forms the soundtrack of your life. Remember that feeling when a song syncs perfectly with your steps? It's a little like that, only with more soot and less chance of dancing. In the dim light, the tools around you gleam purposefully. Hammers of all shapes and sizes rest like soldiers in waiting. It's hard not to think of how attached a modern-day TikToker might become to their ring light or that perfect playlist they spent hours curating. Each hammer has a distinct function, and in your hands, it's not just steel meeting steel, it's creation meeting reality. Perhaps it's like deciding which emoji to use. Crucial decisions matter deeply, silly as they seem. Today's challenge is a mighty sword, and the expression of craftsmanship is about patience, like reducing dozens of open tabs into a singular, productive focus. You work your hands over the metal, the sparks flying, tiny bursts of light to rival the stars outside. Honestly, though, the unpredictability of sparks can only be compared to a sneeze coming out of nowhere. Surprising, inevitable, and hard to hide. Here's a weird little tidbit. Among medieval superstitions, people believed blacksmiths held some mystical sway over fire, as if every blacksmith could master the flame like a conductor guiding an orchestra. And you won't believe this. People thought a blacksmith's touch could also heal. Imagine sneezing while watching cleaning videos and believing your screen will tidy itself just like that. Historians still argue whether these magical attributes were local myths or broader medieval beliefs. But it's comforting to think of a time when the everyday took on an air of magic and mystery. As the sword takes shape, layer by careful layer, you're reminded of making the perfect lasagna. It's all about precision, layering just right, expecting the taste to match effort with satisfaction. The air around is filled with the scent of industry and sweat, not like the fresh-baked bread smell filling a house when you return home. But there's something homely about knowing your work sustains more than you imagine. The quirks of blacksmithing came with unexpected humor. Picture this: a fellow blacksmith bending down to pick up a tool, only to find out it wasn't a tool, but some curious animal making a bed in a pile of coal dust. It happened more often than you'd think. Wildlings, mingling among the hopeful, steady tradespeople. Life then, like now, had its chuckles in the form of tiny surprises. In a world not yet pulsing with electricity, your firelight was an epicenter, a beacon of civilization, a hub of gossip, and a wellspring of goods that everyone needed, but few understood. Just like that friend, who's an expert at finding the perfect meme to send at just the right time. People relied on you without fully grasping the complexities of your art. Perhaps not entirely different from how we trust our devices without knowing how they tick inside. And so, the day moves on. The essence of the blacksmith's work was less glamour, more grit, endless hours honed to refinement. Once, maybe twice, you look at the flickering forge, the shadows playfully resembling small, animated figures, whispering tales of magical creatures conjuring art in the flames. It's poetic, really, almost too good to be true. Like pretending you didn't mute the group chat, and now you know just enough to nod ambiguously. You imagine your craft, passed down through generations. The forge, smoky yet warm like familiar arms around you, whispering secrets only you hear. Each encounter at the anvil, a stalwart testament to endurance and trust. You're more than a maker of things. You're the heart of transformation. But for now, let that thought grow dim, like the last glow of embers before sleep calls you back to softer moments. As the day draws to a close, you wipe the sweat, soot becoming part of you like a well-loved hoodie after a lazy Sunday. Your reward? The satisfaction, not unlike that serene moment when all your videos autoplay seamlessly, like the best dreams rolling into daylight lazily. With that, rest easy, thoughts still flickering, like the forge's embers in a carefree, comfortable night. Sleep now. We'll meet the morning light together. A deep breath greets the morning, a mix of anticipation and that familiar layer of iron. Honestly, waking up in a world where you're responsible for crafting a kingdom's worth of essentials is both daunting and exhilarating. You walk into the forge, where the fire crackles like it's telling you secrets only the flames know. It feels like scrolling through a forgotten playlist and suddenly finding the perfect song to match your mood. The day presents itself with a new form of artistry, the kind of craftsmanship TikTok could only dream of capturing in 30 seconds. You're tasked with creating horseshoes, and it reminds you of piecing together a complex jigsaw puzzle. Getting those curves just right feels as mystifying as finding the right filter for your vacation photo that stubbornly won't produce likes. About those horseshoes, did you know that back in medieval times, they were as much about luck as they were about protecting hooves? Yep. People nailed them above doors for good fortune, a tradition sparking from the belief that the iron's magical properties warded off evil. Every shoe you hammer out now becomes a story clasped by nails. In another time, another place, it might end up being hung like forgotten promises over doorways across a village. You muse on how life was then, compared to now, when people hang ironic motivational quotes, printed to look like they weren't. Historians still debate whether blacksmithing was seen as purely functional or inherently artistic. Was every nail driven with the precision of eventual fame, or merely the necessary wear and tear of daily survival? It's an open question, much like wondering if binge-watching travel vlogs truly satisfies wanderlust, or just feeds it more. Your hands work like memory's own metronome. Just think about how in sync you are. It's like having all your emails drafted perfectly without your brain short-circuiting. The rhythm comes naturally, and before you know it, you've crafted a slew of horseshoes ready to endure the countless miles they'll tread. A bit like those old sneakers everyone keeps until they fall apart because they fit just right. You'll chuckle at this peculiar little fact. On occasion, blacksmiths would brand the underside of a horseshoe with secret symbols or the name of their sweetheart. Maybe it was an act of rebellion, or perhaps a love note no one would ever see. Imagine leaving secret messages under every chair you ever repaired, in reverse graffiti for someone special. like tagging digital photos just right for someone to stumble upon years later. The stories that unfold within the forge's flickering walls stretch far beyond the practice of the trade. Your workspace isn't isolated, it's alive with unseen connections. Who came to visit today? Was it the noble needing a sword polished to perfection, or the local farmer desperate for that extra spike before the coming rains? The forge serves as community, an epicenter akin to late-night diners where every walk of life sidles up to the counter for a slice of pie and leftover dreams. As you approach the end of your day, the cooling air seems to carry whispers of earlier times. Perhaps it's the wind carrying echoes of centuries past. Or maybe it's just your mind playing tricks, tired yet inspired. You think of those tiny superstitions and old beliefs, stories lost in the shuffle of time. They're reminders of how even then, people were just like people now, letting imagination blend with reality. A medieval way of arty memeing, perhaps. The night finally drapes itself over the village, and as you extinguish the forge's heart, the warmth lingers slightly, like the stain of caramel on a favorite coffee mug. You stretch out, feeling, just for a moment, the boundless energy of your labor, a satisfaction bested only by slipping into your favorite pair of fuzzy slippers. The lights dim, thoughts drift, quiet envelopes, like the end of a really good series, only you already know. Tomorrow promises another episode, so let's pause right here, until the morning whispers its first hello. With dawn's gentle light peeking through, your feet find their way to the forge, almost like they know the path by heart. The stones cool against your soles, a familiar chill snapping you awake. In a world where fuzzy slippers aren't around, you make do with what you have. That's the story of a blacksmith, isn't it? Making what you have enough. Today is all about swords. Imagine, for a moment, the drama of it all. Crafting a sword that's expected to perform heroics on the battlefield is like editing a TikTok video to go viral. Only the stakes are a little higher. You stoke the fires, watching them roar to life, and it's like that satisfying, quiet moment of a candle flickering in a dark room. Quiet before the storm of creation begins. Did you know there was a time when swordsmithing was seen as the highest form of blacksmithing? A medieval rite of passage, almost. Not unlike finally getting those elusive blue check marks on your social media account. It wasn't just about the metal. It was about infusing the weapon with strength, spirit, and dare I say, a dash of flair. They weren't just tools of war, but symbols of power and art. A good sword was a bit like the family heirloom of today, passed down with tales of courage at its edge. Now, here's a quirky twist. Blacksmiths often gave names to the swords they forged, not unlike bestowing a silly pet name upon your favorite gadget that somehow serves faithfully through thick and thin. It wasn't just a blade anymore. It had character, a spirit, a story embedded within the iron. You wonder, would a sword named Bessie inspire fear, or just an unscheduled fit of laughter on the battlefield? You lift the hammer, and with precise swings that might impress even the most ambitious of DIY influencers, you shape the metal. The clang rings out, a symphony in minor keys echoing a sleepy lullaby. Your eyes catch the glint of steel forming into a blade, and you think back to the medieval belief that a blacksmith could bestow supernatural strength on a sword through sheer willpower. Or maybe it was the muscle from all that constant swinging. Historians, even now, argue whether these tales of magical properties were grounded in true sentiment or just the whispers of legend growing wild, much like rumors you'd find in a particularly spicy group chat. Every stroke of the hammer raises the temperature, sparks dancing around your feet in a chaotic ballet. It's intense work, demanding focus, much like trying to grab your cat's attention between dinner time and nap time. Each strike carries the weight of warriors past and those yet to come. The sword's balance, its edge, must join in perfect harmony. A challenge akin to balancing your phone's brightness at night just right, so as not to wake yourself into hyper-awake mode. When you finally lay down the hammer, the sword rests hot in its near-complete form. It's a moment like the quiet after closing a really intense game level, or solving that cryptic crossword clue that eluded you for hours. Satisfaction whispers in the cooling steam, rising from the blade as you quench it with a sizzle. Twilight slides its cold fingers over the sky as you clean up the forge, sweeping the day's busyness into the gloaming light. You pause, one last glance at the sword that seems to breathe alongside you. Its metal no longer merely matter, but a tapestry of dreams and toil. Taking that slow walk back from the forge, you can't help but appreciate the soft, singing hum of the crickets, less a cacophony and more like a collection of familiar lullabies. You lean into that piece, letting the rhythm guide your thoughts, your steps melting into the present moment. So rest now, wrapped in a tranquility that doesn't smother, but rather softly carries you down to where dreams pool gently. Let's meet where this day ends and the next dawn begins. The morning tiptoes in, nudging you awake with its soft, tentative light. You stretch, feeling the warmth seep back into your bones, like opening your inbox to see a rare email that doesn't require an immediate existential crisis. The forge waits with an expectant silence, a comforting kind of quiet that comes right before diving into a new day's work. A rhythm as predictable as your morning coffee brewing. You wrap your fingers around the familiar tools, each one fitting into your hands like they were designed just for you. Today, it's all about mending farm tools, those everyday, uncelebrated heroes of medieval life. Imagine them as the unsung bits of code that keep your favorite apps running smoothly, quietly saving the day while everyone else gets the spotlight. Did you know that blacksmiths back then were really the mechanics of their time? Farmers depended on their expertise to keep tools in working order, so much so that it might have felt like being handed a perplexed device with 100 especially tangled cords. Your job? Untangle the mess and make sense of the chaos. Fixing a plow or sharpening a scythe was almost like reviving an ancient device whose update button had yet to be invented. And get this, a quirky historical side note for you. There was a time when blacksmiths were believed to hold sway over storms. It was said that the sound of hammering could drive away thunderstorms. Not unlike the idea that wearing your lucky socks might somehow protect you on an important day. Superstitions woven into daily life, like those mysterious quirks you can't explain but totally rely on. In the courtyard, a medieval noble visits, hoping for some much-needed repairs on their carriage. The arrival stirs a flurry of activity, folks bustling like it's the town's latest TikTok trend. There's anticipation and maybe a bit of pressure. You imagine the noble's guards with their serious expressions as they secure the area, reminiscent of tech guys creating a bubble of stress around an unanticipated system update. Historians still argue whether visits like these were loaded with as much pressure as it might seem. Were these nobility visits frequent enough to throw a blacksmith's world into deterrent chaos, or just another tick of the village clock? Honestly, though, what could be more intimidating than serving a request when the local lord or lady stood scrutinizing your every move? Social media's got nothing on this level of perceived personal pressure. With each strike, the iron bends, reshapes under skillful will. The day shifts into glowing afternoons, where the air buzzes and hums with completed industries and whispers of to-do lists checked off. There's comfort in these small victories, akin to finding your party's playlist on point with no skip track into awkward silence. Soon, the shadows lengthen, and the sun paints the sky with brushstrokes plucked straight from an artist's palette. Tools set neatly aside, you take a moment to stand and watch the colors dance and fade, the day's work meeting its natural conclusion. Much like closing the fridge door, hoping that somehow, simultaneously and magically, it restocks itself. You close up for the night, the forge finally allowed to rest. Satisfaction simmers peacefully, a feeling akin to curling under a soft blanket, the kind where you dive into the familiar narrative of a favorite book or drift into that other, less arduous world of dreams. The fire dims, shadows stretch across the workshop, and the warmth becomes more memory than promise, the kind of tangled emotion that comes with whispered goodbyes. So, turn back to the world of soft blankets and sleep, where dreams knit together stories for future fires. Rest now, gentle archivist of times remembered and recreated. As sleep grasps its gentle hold, imagine those dreams setting sail on the quiet seas of finished tasks and quiet nights, until the sun wakes you into another day's light. The morning rolls over the horizon like a sleepy pet stretching out to soak in the first sunbeams. You rise to meet a new day, with toes brushing against the cool floor, a gentle reminder that today, like every day, starts at the forge. There's a comfort in routine, like an old sweatshirt that's seen better days, but fits just right. Your mind's not racing ahead to tasks just yet. It's caught in that peaceful trance of waking. As the forge warms, you can't help but let thoughts wander to the lesser-known aspects of smithing. Today, the focus is on making tools that are every bit as important, yet far less glamorous than swords or shields. Nails, rivets, and hinges. Imagine each tiny piece as a crucial line of code within a vast network. Not glamorous, sure, but without them, the entire structure collapses. Nails hold it all together, much like the forgotten but crucial details of everyday life. Here's a crazy thing most don't realize. During the medieval era, blacksmiths actually had to make each and every nail by hand. Yes, every single one. A tedium akin to that impossibly long queue at a coffee shop on a Monday morning. Before the days of mass production, this was the order of things. A riveting, although time-consuming cornerstone of craftsmanship. You pause, thinking how fascinating it is that something so small could hold such significance in the grand tapestry of history. Historians still argue whether nails, or more specifically, advancements in creating them more efficiently, helped catalyze building techniques that defined new architectural styles. Could something so small really push the progress of an entire society forward? It's a question like those unsolvable riddles one ponders late at night, browsing how to tell if your cat is plotting against you. On your workbench sits a variety of unfinished pieces, potential waiting to be realized. A feeling not unlike staring at an empty canvas on paint night. Colors ready, but intent unformed. As you pick up the hammer again, you find rhythm, much like the undistracted focus one imagines while meditating to the sound of rain against a window pane. Here's something that might make you chuckle. It's said that blacksmiths, during downtime, would fashion clever puzzles from scrap metal, intricate little traps that would snare fingers and baffle minds as they tried to unravel them. It's a bit like the medieval version of those addictive little games you find yourself playing on your phone when you really should be doing something else, like actual work. Between repairing plows and shoeing horses, the village became scattered with these curious mind twisters, handed out like secrets only the initiated could decipher. As the day warms into afternoon, the forge bustles with life. There's a calm chaos within those walls, a dance between order and creative spark, akin to finding just the right photo for the day's post, choosing words that wrap around it, like a story yearning to be heard. The sun winks from behind a cloud, casting a playful blend of light and shadow on the walls of your workshop. Evening creeps in as the day's shadows stretch across the cobblestones, long and languid. The hum of the forge slows, each glowing coal a fading heartbeat in symphony with the world at rest. Packing away your tools feels as regular and right as powering down your devices for a breather. There's a sweet simplicity in these nightly rituals, the way the dark edges in, bringing with it the promise of rest. With the door shuttered for the night, the village becomes quiet, and the only sound is the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant call of an owl. As you settle into bed, let the day's labors slip from your shoulders. Let them fall away like forgotten dreams. Close your eyes and feel the gentle sway of sleep pulling you down into the night's embrace. We'll be here again, ready to welcome tomorrow's light. Until then, let the quiet lead you softly into contented slumber. As the dawn unfurls its light, you find yourself waking into the delicate quiet that precedes the usual bustle of the village. You shuffle to the window, stretching out like a sleepy cat in a patch of sunlight, feeling the promise of a new day. The forge, your steadfast companion, awaits with its familiar outlines and stories yet untold. There's a comfort to be found in these routines, much like knowing exactly where the spoon drawer is even in the dark. Today, you dive into the task of creating armor, that shining promise of protection on the battlefield. Crafting a suit of armor is a bit like piecing together a medieval suit of confidence. Imagine needing to upgrade your avatar's gear in an RPG, swapping out mismatched pieces for something that screams both style and survival. The heat of the forge rises in greeting, like opening a fresh, hot pizza box that promises simple joys. Here's an interesting tidbit. The armor wasn't just functional, but often a canvas for intricate designs and embellishments. Blacksmiths would etch patterns into the metal, transforming it into wearable art. It's fascinating, really. I mean, what would be the modern equivalent? Maybe your favorite band tee that feels invincible on a hard day. These suits weren't just shields of metal. They were expressions of identity artistry, each curve and line meticulously planned like a perfect birthday wish in calligraphy. The clang of hammer on metal becomes a musical phrase, the consistent tempo a reminder of the heartbeat of creation. You wonder briefly if there was ever a time when a blacksmith set the rhythm of their labor to accompany a particular tune, like dueling banjos, but with added fire and iron. Could you imagine medieval bards strumming along with the beat, casting tales to match the sparks flying? Historians still debate the exact process and techniques that went into creating each piece, whether it was the armor of a noble or a soldier's basic gear. Did armorers develop secret techniques passed down like treasured family recipes? Or was it more about adaptation, responding to the shifting demands of wars and changing times? These questions swirl like autumn leaves, the knowing elusive and just out of reach, like buffering a video just as it gets to the good part. Entrepreneurial blacksmiths often took on apprentices who longed for the title of master craftsman, developing quirks and styles of their own that reflected a personal flair. Imagine a history where each forge was akin to having your very own YouTube channel. Learning and teaching wasn't bound by time, but by the bond of shared steel. In this way, blacksmiths didn't just forge metal, they shaped futures and destinies in the fiery glow of their art. As the afternoon sun casts long shadows reminiscent of ladders stretched across the ground, your work is near completion. The armor fits together snugly over a wooden form, ready to protect its future wearer in more than just name. It's a satisfying end to another day's challenge, the kind of contentment that settles like a blanket draped gently over shoulders, nodding into evening. The forge rests as the village drifts into quiet, evenings spent as they always are, in a soft murmur of laughter and shared meals. As you step away from your work, you feel a gentle pull towards the horizon, beyond which another day awaits its turn. Finally, under the starry canopy overhead, you tuck in, feeling the world ease further into itself with each passing moment. So let the gentle rhythm of sleep claim you, rocking you softly into its embrace. The forge, a lingering warmth in your dreams. Close your eyes and let the world slip away peacefully, with all its stories yet to be heard. There you'll find us again, in another time and another glow. Sleep well, and we'll meet wherever this night leads. The first light of morning slips through the cracks of the window, brushing against your eyes in a gentle wake-up call. You stir, cocooned in the familiarity of another day that promises the comforting routine of the forge. Stretching awake, with that feeling akin to tapping snooze a few too many times on alarms you reluctantly set. Yet, there's a certain beauty to this morning, a peaceful assurance, like the first sip of coffee that somehow makes things right. You wander out to the forge, where the ongoing story of metal and fire awaits. Today's project has you crafting nails and bolts, those unsung heroes of construction. It's the buildup of anticipation to a task critical yet overshadowed, much like the joy of getting laundry done with matching socks. Without these humble pieces, grand structures would falter. It's hard to imagine the vast cathedrals gracing the skyline without the unseen support of thousands of tiny nails holding them together. Here's a quirky little tidbit. In some villages, blacksmiths were so crucial for these small marvels that they were often exempt from taxes. Imagine getting a special pass through life's minor annoyances just for being exceedingly useful. Like the VIP of the medieval world. The art of turning raw iron into these indispensable supports is akin to the meticulous process of designing the perfect meme guaranteed to go viral. Each nail hammered, each bolt meticulously threaded, is a small marvel in craftsmanship. The rhythm of the day settles in as metal meets the anvil, the ringing echo tracing through the early mist like a soft bell's chime. It's a melody that's reassuring in its repetition, almost like the comfort of hearing your favorite song on the radio after a long day. Meanwhile, The village comes alive outside, the usual buzz of markets and conversations weaving into the fabric of your task. You ever wonder how many hands touched each project before it found its way to your forge? Historians still argue about the ancient supply chains. Were raw materials gathered locally, or did they journey from distant lands, bearing tales of far-off places? It's the same curiosity sparked when you realize exactly how far your online shopping package has traveled. An adventure condensed into a brown box. The afternoon finds you surrounded by completed projects, the blur of hard work coming to rest in neat rows. Nails, bolts, and hinges, each piece ready to play its role in the village's unending story. A chuckle escapes as you think of each mundane creation as a little overlooked masterpiece, like that one photo on your phone you never delete, holding quiet memories beyond its pixels. As the sun sets, painting the sky with hues borrowed from dreams, you close the workshop. The forge falls quiet, its heat drifting off like the sigh of a warm cup waiting on a bedside. The world dims softly, drawing itself into a slower rhythm where your thoughts turn toward respite and reflection. A gentle contentment hums through you. Work well done. A day both ordinary and extraordinary. With the moon guiding its soft light across the village, you find your way to bed. Let the shadows cradle you into sleep. The forge, a fading warmth, in the backdrop of your thoughts. Fade into comfort. Trust the night to hold you safely until morning. Drift peacefully, assured in the knowledge of another day's waking. Another promise of new old stories through the glimmer of forge's fire. Sleep now. Soothing stories gathering to carry you onward. As the world whirls silently into another morning, you're gently nudged awake by the creeping dawn. The light peels back the lingering blur of dreams, and the room slowly sharpens into focus, like when you finally clean your glasses and the world looks pixel perfect again. You stretch, feeling the new day's promise, a little wonder wrapped in habit. Stepping into the forge, the scent of yesterday's labor still hangs in the air, warm and tangible. Today's endeavor nudges you into the realm of innovation. The task is to forge tools for the upcoming harvest, necessities born of necessity. A bit like swapping out apps on your phone when a new update demands it. Scythes and sickles, shears and plowshares. They're the agricultural armor for those who wrangle the earth's wealth. It's all about optimizing output, which honestly is a concept that even medieval folks were familiar with. Here's something to spin your thoughts. In some corners of the medieval world, blacksmiths doubled as local agriculturists, knowing just how the tools they made would be wielded. Imagine your phone being designed by someone who grew the very coffee within your morning brew. A full circle notion that's both quaint and extraordinary. Each swing of your hammer echoes their silent gratitude, like invisible threads weaving plans beneath the everyday sounds of life. There's a peculiar practice you might find amusing. Certain blacksmiths believed that speaking kind, encouraging words as they forged, helped imbue the metal with positive energy. Picture that. A mantra said over a mundane item, like someone murmuring sweet nothings to their laptop, hoping it'll magically process faster. Historians still aren't clear if it was more superstition or if there seemed to be some mysterious, placebo-like comfort that sparked brighter labor. As you shape these essential tools, the village life unfolds outside your window. Farmers chat about weather patterns and crop rotations, much as one might today discuss trending topics over brunch. The forge hears it all, a repository of whispered hopes and shared news. It's almost charming, if not strangely comforting, like those playlists that auto-suggest a song just when you need it. Each piece you create seems small, yet carries within it the weight of an entire season's promise, much like the forgotten yet crucial stepping stones along any grand plan. A sickle, in its curve, holds the breath of myriad harvests. A plowshare, the whispered dreams of next year's bounty. Crafting such implements feels both noble and entirely ordinary, skills tangled in timelessness. The day rolls on, each hour marked by the steady rhythm of hammering, a heartbeat syncopating with the world and with your own, until twilight stretches shadows long across your workspace. The forge slowly winds down, its fervor dimming to a soft amber glow, a storyteller letting the fire of its tale pause until the next chapter beckons. With tools neatly set aside and the evening closing in, you can almost hear the echo of your day as a symphony gently fading. It's an end that's more of a gentle slowing, like an audiobook left playing softly in the background until consciousness tips into sleep. Finally, as the world quiets itself under the blanket of night, let every breath slow its pace. Breathe deep. Nestle into your dreams, and let the hearth's quiet warmth carry you off. Close your eyes, and in that beautiful space between waking and sleeping, find solace in the simple luxury of a day well spent. We'll be here when you wake, whenever the morning sun decides to creep back into your window, starting it all anew. Sleep gently, ride the current of dreams, and rest a while longer under the sleepy watch of ancient stars. The morning arrives like an old friend, familiar and gentle, wrapping you in its delicate light. You stir, cozy under your blankets, feeling that sleepy transition from dreams to waking. The day, like a soft soundtrack cued just for you, begins as you prepare to head back into the heart of the forge. The world outside your window is quiet, much like your phone when most notifications are blissfully silenced. Today, the forge plays host to an extra buzz of excitement. It's time for repairs and touches on the village gate, the sentinel that watches over the comings and goings of everyday life, securing hinges, crafting bolts, and making sure every piece fits just right is the medieval version of ensuring the Wi-Fi router is in perfect working order. A duty somehow both critical and mundane. Did you know that historically, gates were more than mere barriers? In many towns, they became cultural hubs where folks swapped news and enjoyed entertainment, like the community boards of their time. You can picture it, people gathering, just as they might scroll through feeds today, absorbing the swirl of daily life through tickets and tales. It's the crossroads of societal life, at once opening and guarding paths to both the known and the new. A quirky practice among gatekeepers. They'd often etch charms and symbols into their gates to ward off evil. Some even sewed small tokens into the wood itself. Imagine enchanting your front door for extra good vibes, or praying over your phone before a big text. It's the same impulse dressed differently through time. Historians still puzzle over whether these gates were as symbolic as they were practical. Did they stand merely as entries and exits, or as sentinels privy to the village's heartbeat? The open, unbeaten path is dotted with mysteries, like uncovering lost pins or old passwords that once unlocked treasures. As the hammer's rhythm picks up, the task demands your focus, securing hinges to stout wood, ensuring everything swings open as smoothly as a long-held secret shared among friends. There's an art to this kind of precision, a reminder of the careful planning tucked into the simplest of things, like ensuring your favorite cozy playlist starts at just the right song when needed the most. Outside, the village moves with earnest energy, the children playing amongst the swirling eddies of dust and laughter. Life within the forge feels like a heartbeat in the village's flow, each clink and clatter carrying notes in an unscripted symphony. It's a hum that's both sturdy and subtle, like the undercurrent of collective dreams. As the sun leans westward, you pause from your labors, standing back to admire the work. A gate secured, its presence now both confidently unyielding and welcoming. The satisfaction feels as rich as closing a novel after hours lost in its pages, the story lingering in the quiet moments that follow. Evening descends, with the sky dressing in hues of dusky blues and soft golds. The forge's warmth wraps around you one last time, a fading embrace that promises to be there again come morning. The world softens under the blanket of night. Your day, neatly packaged, lets itself go as you ease into the calmer hours. The relaxation deepens with each tick of the clock, each breath a gentle exhalation of the day's toils. As your thoughts drift further away, let them lead you to places both familiar and fantastical, with a quiet knowing that all will be well when next we meet the forge. Sleep finds you in this moment, a lullaby whispered from quiet shadows and starlight. Rest easy, cocooned in the promise of dreams and twilight tales. Close your eyes softly, surrendering to the melody of the night. You're safe, you're warm, and the story continues, just around the bend of slumber. Until tomorrow, let peace guide you gently home. The sun peeks over the horizon, casting gentle tendrils of light that nudge you from the depths of sleep. Yawning, you stretch, feeling that familiar burr of the new day settling into your bones. The forge waits, like an old friend eager to share a new story, and you're ready to step back into its warm embrace, comfortably tethered to the rhythm of your work. The task at hand today is new, crafting a decorative gate latch for the town hall, a project that marries both utility and art. It demands a touch of creativity, a sprinkle of whimsy, almost like redecorating your room to find just that right balance of function and flair. Blacksmithing wasn't always about grim tools of war or toil. Sometimes it was about crafting beauty from brute strength. You start the day with a rough sketch, leaning into an inspiration that's less structured, freer, like doodling in the margins of your notebook when the teacher's droning on. Here in the refuge of your forge, the possibilities flicker as vividly as the fire before you, shapes dancing within the flames, waiting to be realized. Here's a curious tidbit for you. Ornamental ironwork was often a sign of prestige within communities, much like today's custom-made sneakers or limited edition collectibles. These pieces spoke volumes, quietly, about prosperity and sophistication without ever saying a word. Part functional, part artistic. This nicety satisfies a desire as old as time itself, to find beauty in everyday life. And think about this. Historians still debate whether these ornate designs were a matter of personal expression, or if they adhered to strict societal rules, like an ancient algorithm deciding what kind of ironwork went where. Honestly, it's a real ponderer, much like trying to decide why some memes catch on and go viral while others fade into obscurity. You settle into the work, piece by ornate piece, the metal bending under your practiced hand. There's a meditative quality to it, the clang and heat drawing you into an intense focus, where the outside world drifts away like forgotten tabs closed after a long session at the computer. Each tap of the hammer refines the metal further, each notch deliberate, until the design unfurls before you. A story in steel and iron, whispered page by page. Outside, the village hums along in parallel, filled with people going about their daily business. Cartwheels creak over cobblestones, and voices rise in friendly banter. The soft scent of baking bread wafts in from a nearby bakery, making your stomach grumble in agreement. There's something magical about how the village moves its own dance, while your own rhythm echoes in the forge. The sun begins its descent as you meticulously complete the final touches. The latch catches the sunset's rays, gleaming and polished, a glimpse of warmth in the settling darkness. It stands as a testament to a day's labor, a carved smile in iron that holds the whispered stories of your community. As the forge gradually cools, the day's heat gives way to the soothing embrace of twilight. You take a moment, breathing in the evening air that's crisp with the promise of rest. It's the kind of pause that feels right at the end of a busy day, when every muscle sighs, "Thank you," into the quiet. With the village growing dim, you step back into your home, ready for the stillness of night. Let the peace of the day's close guide you into slumber's arms, each breath settling into the soft rhythm of the resting town. Whether in dreams or waking, the stories of the forge will linger, a gentle chorus whispering through sleep and time. Let them carry you softly into night, wrapped in their quiet lullabies, until dawn nudges you back into the world of waking. Sleep gently and well. The first light of morning whispers its way through your window, gently tugging you from the depths of sleep, like a tender alarm without the buzz. You rise, feeling the promise of another day nestled within the familiar warmth of your room. Outside, the village begins to stir, its own morning song, a soft symphony of life waking alongside you. Today, you find yourself preparing to work on horseshoes, those humble arcs of metal that play such a vital role in the daily life of a medieval village. It's a task rooted deeply in both tradition and necessity, akin to the comforting repetition of brewing your morning coffee, knowing every step by heart. Did you know that blacksmiths often considered horseshoes lucky? It's where the good omen of hanging them over doorways comes from, a superstition that still rides through modern times with a wink and a nod. Imagine each shoe not only protecting hooves, but also carrying a whisper of good fortune with every step, almost like slipping on a hoodie that's seen you through good times and bad, offering comfort no matter the weather outside. As you start up the forge, the fire leaps into life, radiating warmth that fills the room like a warm embrace. Shaping horseshoes is a dance, a rhythmic waving of tool and steel, each action purposeful yet somehow soothing. It's a bit like molding something familiar out of chaos, akin to crafting the perfect playlist for a chill evening. Historians still argue whether horseshoes truly were magical, or if the tales spun around them grew over time, with each story told around a village hearth. Was it truly the shoe, or the belief in its power, that mattered most to people back then? It's an open question, much like wondering if it's the coffee or the slow ritual of preparing it that truly wakes you up in the morning. With each swing of the hammer, you can feel the world's pulse syncing with yours, an ancient rhythm that connects you to those who've come before. The clanging beat becomes like an incantation, not unlike a sonnet wrapped in rhythm and heat. Each shoe you craft holds strength and protection, both for the horses who will wear them and the journeys yet to come. Here's something to make you chuckle. There's a tale of a blacksmith who crafted a perfect horseshoe on a particularly unlucky day and hung it over his own forge. From that day forward, it's said, fortune smiled upon both him and all who walked under its curve. Not unlike finding that one lucky charm, a penny, a feather, or a favorite mug that never fails you. As the sun arches high, bathing the village in warm hues, the day stretches on, bringing with it a sense of accomplishment as the last horseshoe glows in completion. You pause, admiring your handiwork, each piece clutching its own small story within the quiet stillness of metal. With the work done and the forge cooling, you step back to take in the evening's embrace as it settles gently over the village. The sky softens to twilight, a canvas painted in dreamy strokes of pink and violet, cradling the world with its soothing colors. You tidy up your workspace, enjoying the last hints of warmth from the forge. It's a moment of simple contentment, much like that sigh of relief when you finally curl up on the couch after a long day. Stepping away from your tasks, the promise of rest beckons like an old, welcoming friend. As night wraps itself softly around the world, you find comfort in letting the day's journey ease your thoughts to stillness. Let the weight of work slip away with each breath, resting easy in the gentle grip of twilight. Sleep now, cradled in the quiet dignity of well-steeped labor and quiet dreams. We'll meet again, bright with new stories when the sun rises. Until then, sleep well. Morning weaves its golden threads through your window, slyly pulling you from the embrace of sleep. The air holds a hint of anticipation, a subtle whisper of the day ahead, like the page of a new book waiting to be turned. You stretch, feeling the morning wrap around you like a soft, worn-in sweater, inviting you to once again join the world waking outside. Today, the task is one that tugs on the strings of community, creating hinges for a new door at the village meeting hall. It's a place where folks gather to share news, celebrate, and solve the puzzles life throws at them. The hinges, though modest in their role, hold the space together, ensuring stories and decisions swing seamlessly between past and future like some timeless pendulum. As the forge blazes to life, the heat flows out with a familiar embrace. There's a comfort in crafting something so integral yet simple, like putting the finishing touches on a home-cooked meal that promises warmth and connection. You gather metal, each piece waiting to be transformed, holding that potential in their cool, unshaped forms like an unopened gift. Did you know that back in medieval days, some believed that doors could trap evil spirits within their frames if not properly hinged? It's a notion that might make you smile, imagining folks tucking away malevolent spirits as if cleaning out an attic and finding nothing but forgotten treasures, much like your own belief in small, comforting rituals that keep ghosts at bay. Each hinge you craft must fit perfectly, strong and reliable, yet unnoticed once in place, akin to those behind-the-scenes heroes making sure everything runs just right. You work with precision, tapping rhythm into the rhythm of the village outside, where life continues its gentle unfolding as steady as a heartbeat. A reminder that even the smallest parts can hold up the grandest doors. Historians ponder whether these community centers framed out by doors and hinges gathered folks together more for sharing resources or ideas. Were these places simply practical or venues for weaving the rich tapestry of communal life? A place where laughter, debate, and stories drew neighbors near? Much like modern platforms that connect us over opinions, memes, and shared challenges. The task gathers momentum. As familiar movements flow like an old song, each tap of the hammer striking true. You pause amidst the clamor of the forge, noting the quiet satisfaction of creation. There's a kind of serenity in knowing that your hands shape the invisible framework of your village, a subtle architecture in life's unfolding narrative. As the day slides gracefully toward its end, each finished hinge shines with polished promise, ready to support every whispered conversation and loud declaration it shall meet. The swing of its paired door will echo your heart, each motion steady and true. With twilight's approach, the forge winds down, warm embers casting lazy shadows that mimic feet shuffling their way through town. Tasks complete, you step back into the quiet, leaving behind an honest day's labor that will stretch beyond the setting sun. There's transparency in hard work coming to comforting rest, much like easing into evening's soft lull. The night gathers you in, sparking faint stars against its deep velvety sky, each a tiny, glimmering promise of dreams quietly waiting. Let the noise dim to a comforting hum, nestling you into the inviting embrace of rest. Feel how the day's stories wrap around you like a comforting quilt, easing you gently into sleep. Close your eyes and let the woven tales guide you to repose. Rest now, assured and tranquil, cradled by the stories the forge whispers through smoke and flame. We'll continue when the dawn slips quietly back into your room. Until then, drift softly through the gentle currents of night, held by the unfurling promise of dreams. Sleep well. The first light of a new day steals into the room, gently coaxing you from the dream-softened cocoon of sleep. You rise, feeling the hushed promise that each dawn carries, an easy whisper of anticipation that feels like the world is pinning its hopes on you to breathe life into metal once more. The village outside rouses alongside you, stretching lazily as the morning creeps in with its familiar, comforting ritual. Today's endeavor is one that carries the weight of tradition, forging a bell for the chapel. The project speaks of community threads tightly woven, a shared tapestry hanging quietly over the village's daily life. This bell will be more than the sum of its metal parts. It will be the timekeeper, the storyteller, a voice calling out in clear tones to mark life's many turns. In its silence, too, it will listen to all who dwell within its reach. As you light the forge, the flames catch and rise, a bright invitation to the dance of crafting. The heat washes over you, warm and reassuring, while you prepare to shape the molten metal into a form that will sing. There's a quiet thrill in the thought, akin to the resonance when your favorite song comes unbidden and perfectly timed to a moment. Each tool in your hand feels weighted just right, balanced and ready for the day's rhythm. Did you know that historically, bells were thought to ward off demons and evil spirits? Their sound, a powerful ward, a resonant protector, casting wide arcs over the vulnerable. It's a comforting legacy to craft, a little like carrying a well-used talisman for luck in unexpected places. Each step in the process binds a little more magic into the metal, every strike weaving history with hope and harmony. As the hammer swings, each clang becomes a heartbeat, resounding with the promise of the future. You tether each thought to the rhythm, knowing that what you create will sound the hours and echo through the lives of everyone in the village. It's like sending a message that travels beyond sight, leaving silence altered, the air richer for its presence. Every peal, like the voice of community, weaving space together with sonic threads. Historians often debate whether village bells held an aura that extended beyond their auditory scope. Did they speak plainly only of time? Or were they the hidden language of hope and connection, sounding the silent heartbeats of their communities? The questions echo like shadows in candlelight, whispering consideration as the monotones shift into quiet depth unseen. It's akin to wondering if an alarm clock solely rouses one from sleep, or echoes a day's new beginning with each ring. Here's something that might delight you. Some blacksmiths believed that if a bell was cast under a new moon, its voice would carry power from the stars themselves. Imagine the gentle allure of such enchantment woven into everyday life, like believing your morning coffee somehow harnesses the sunrise's golden touch to keep you awake and dreaming. The sun climbs higher, a patient gaze overseeing your work as the bell bellies out into its form. Each touch, each caress of the hammer is a small prayer to the universe. May this bell hold joy. May it ring true. The moments pass, measured not in minutes, but in craftsman's time. A time that stretches and contracts in quiet balance. As the day softens into a golden afternoon, your project nears completion. The bell, polished to perfection, catches the waning light and holds it close, a luminescent promise to the village it will soon call. Finished with the pride of creation, you step back to admire the day's labor, feeling the satisfying glow of giving life to form. With the forge's heat settling into evening cool, you close the day's tasks, folding away thoughts of hammers and anvils alongside tools, letting the quiet calm soothe you. The village rests under a canopy of dimming sky, reinvesting in the world's quiet bounty after the bustle. As you prepare to retreat into night's inviting embrace, you find comfort in the thought of tomorrow's dawning light. Let the rhythm of the forge's whispers cradle you into tranquil slumber. Slip beneath the surface of dreams and let the soothing cadence of stories guide you into night's keeping. Close your eyes and let go. Drift into sleep with the sound of a future bell's chime echoing softly in your ears, until tomorrow finds you again, wrapped in dreams crafted with quiet hands and the promise of newness. Sleep well, wherever the night's gentle promise leads you. Morning arrives gently, tiptoeing into your room like a cat padding across the floor, soft and unobtrusive. You awaken slowly, embraced by the light filtering through the curtains, casting playful shadows that dance like old friends, welcoming you back from dreams. Another day calls with its familiar rhythm, waiting just beyond the comfortable cocoon of your blankets. Today, there's an air of celebration in the village, a festival of sorts, the kind that promises laughter, stories, and the vibrant hum of community gathering together like a well-rehearsed chorus. Your role is to craft small charms and trinkets, tokens imbued with good fortune and joy, little pieces of metal magic that will dangle from wrists and necks, carry memories and wishes. It's a task light as a laugh, yet deliberate as a slow-cooked meal. The forge crackles to life, a warm embrace that wraps around you, urging you into the day's tasks with a gentle insistence. You gather your materials, small pieces of metal waiting to be transformed into keepsakes that hold the festival's spirit. It's akin to stringing together a playlist of your all-time favorite songs, each choice as meaningful as the next, creating a rhythm uniquely your own. There's an enduring tradition linked to these charms. Villagers believed they carried special powers, especially when crafted with genuine intent and under fortunate skies. Imagine the delight in carrying such luck in your pocket, much like discovering a forgotten note, with words of encouragement just when you need them most. As you shape each piece, tiny sculptures of hope and happiness, you hum along with the rhythm that unfolds. Every twist and turn of your hammer sets the whispers of intent into metal, as if weaving spells in the quiet beats between each motion. It's satisfying work, fulfilling in ways that remind you of finishing a puzzle, all pieces snug and forming a picture that makes sense of scattered fragments. Historians often muse about whether these trinkets truly bore any mystical weight, or if the real magic lay in the belief that people placed in them. Did the faith itself bring forth small wonders, bending daily reality to accommodate dreams? Such questions flutter like gentle wings, echoing throughout the chambers of time, much like wondering if a smile directed at a stranger can change their day without you ever knowing. Here's a light-hearted note to consider. It's said that one particularly savvy blacksmith took to enchanting his trinkets with clever riddles. The puzzles said to unlock even greater fortune and joy. Picture festival goers lingering at his stall, minds whirling with challenges and delighted with discovery. It's like the satisfaction of guessing the punchline moments before it's told, a small triumph shared. As the sun settles into its afternoon position, the pieces you've crafted lie arranged, ready to catch the eyes of eager festival guests. Each glimmers with the promise of new stories, ready to be exchanged through hands and hearts. There's beauty in these objects, tiny narratives awaiting the touch that will bring them fully to life in another's grasp. With the day's work complete, you step away from the forge, its warmth trailing you like an old friend wishing you well on your new journey. The village hums with anticipation, vibrant and alight with color, each voice swelling into a collective song that celebrates life's small, wondrous moments. As evening closes in, wrapping everything in a hushed glow, you let the festival spirit sweep you up. The night unfolds with the sacred murmurs of laughter, love, and human connection. Each moment, a gem strung along the passage of time. You drift, carried on this gentle tide, finding solace in the community's embrace. When at last the night beckons you to rest, you find your way home, weary yet content. Let the joyous hum of the festival lull you to sleep with its comforting cadence. Sink softly into dreams, woven from the day's laughter, love, and light, carried by the quiet murmur of charm-cast wishes. Sleep well and deeply, for tomorrow will be here soon enough with new stories to tell.